The book I chose for my ISU is called I'm the Messenger and it's written by Marcus Zizak.
Give us a brief summary of the book you have chosen.
So the story revolves around a 19-year-old cab driver who has no direction in his life and is constantly accused of it. The story starts off with Ed being in the middle of a bank robbery and he ends up foiling the criminal's escape, and he is now the newfound hero of the town. Afterwards, the next day, he receives a card in his mailbox, which was an ace. The ace of spades were addresses, and found it upon himself to read these addresses and go to them in the town. He undertakes a series of missions which bring him to contact with a range of characters. Sometimes dangerous, sometimes beautiful, his experiences turn his life upside down. And while getting closer to the end of the cards, he realizes that the cards start to affect him more deeply and it starts directly involving him.
Your quote and read it, and why did you choose this quote?
My favorite quote had to be, "Maybe everyone can live beyond what they're capable of." And I chose this as my favorite quote because it depicts the theme very clearly to the reader, and the reader understands just how important this message is. It reveals to Ed the truth about his journey of discovering himself. And he realizes that he doesn't have to live for others and he has to start living for himself. This is a really significant quote because it results in the plot twist at the end of the book.
In your opinion, what is a major theme of the novel? Explain.
I feel like there was many themes running throughout this book, but the main theme definitely had to be self-discovery, and it was consistently portrayed throughout this journey. Ed finds himself twisted in a journey where he has to try to find himself rather than others. The whole time he thought the cards were for other people, but he realizes that the cards were solely directing him. And the author, in my opinion, was successful in conveying this complex theme of self-discovery. And Ed realizes that there's much more to these cards as he thought it was at the beginning. He realizes that it was a message to him, and he realizes that he could be greater than what he thought he could be.
Describe the protagonist, antagonist, and the main conflict.
As I said before, the theme was self-discovery. So the protagonist and antagonist was Ed himself. And the conflict was character versus self, as he realizes that these cards were a battle between him and himself rather than him and all these other characters trying to be involved in his life. It was a message to him, and it involved the theme of self-discovery.
Rate the book overall out of 5 stars and give a brief rationale.
I would have to rate this book 3.8 stars out of 5, and I would rate it this low because the book took a while for it to become interesting to me. Some of the events that the card took place weren't as interesting as the others, but as I gained towards the ending, I realized that these themes became much more deeper and the cards became directing to Ed rather than everyone else.
In your opinion, is it a good grade 10 academic ISU book choice? Why or why not?
All in all, I think this book was a really good choice for a grade 10 ISU book choice. There were many vivid characters and it conveyed the themes of humanity and personal development. And it conveyed a theme that many teens could relate to and I personally could relate to. The specific theme from the novel actually touched me rather than the other books that I have read. And many of the characters were unique that I haven't seen in other books, such as Ed and Marvin and the relationship towards each other. The book has a strong message of personal growth and is structured and written in a way that we all could relate to. Another reason why I enjoyed this book was because there were many moments where the reader was put in a situation to think about what they would do in that situation. I hope you enjoyed this book.